First of all, I'm going to introduce you to Lise, who is the Director of the Institute of Education here at St Mary's.
Thank you, Matthew, and good morning, everybody. What do you call a collection of sheep? You call them a flock. What do you call a collection of poetry? You call it an anthology. What do you call a collection of angels? You call it a host. And what do you call a collection of extraordinarily dedicated, passionate teachers of RE who give up a Saturday and in some cases even a Friday evening travelling in this direction to attend a conference? Well, you call it delegates at the ATCRE conference. And it's my absolute privilege. I'm the Director of Education at the Institute of Education here at St Mary's, and it's my absolute privilege to work alongside enthusiastic professionals, educators like Matthew and many other colleagues here, to really support education very broadly, RE a bit more specifically, and even more specifically than that to support the Catholic teaching of RE in many of our schools. So it's my privilege on behalf of St Mary's University and the Institute of Education here just to say welcome, enjoy your day, enlarge the debate, engage with one another, network widely, and just have a fabulous time. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Annalise. Have you ever had those lessons where you've done these resources, you spent ages getting them ready, and then you go to photocopy and there's someone in front of you, and then the photocopier jams, and then you photocopy it, and then you've used the wrong laminate and it burns it, and then remember those days? And or the band has gone completely wrong, you've got it all over your hands. I've just had one of those mornings. 3 photocopiers, and finally the security guy who says to me, "You've got plenty of time." And then Jessica, who's the conferencing here, says to him, "That's all right for you to say, you don't have to do a speech at 10 o'clock. He says, "What's the time?" "It's 2 minutes to 10. So, no, got here in the end, but I hope you can feel my pain here, running around. So, we're kind of going to try and keep to time. It's a big day, we're trying to pack a lot in. But first of all, welcome to our first National ATCRE conference. I've been waiting a long time to say that. People have said to me, no, slow down, don't go for it, and maybe we shouldn't do a conference. Anyway, we've got here. ATCRE started officially, we launched it 2 years ago at Heathrow College, and we've slowly grown. We're in the region now 800 registered members, and we're going strong. And I hope that we will grow and grow, and you will continue to spread the message and encourage others to join our association. This isn't a one-man band show. It wouldn't work. Yeah, because I'm pretty fallible, and lots of my team here have been calming me down. Matthew, a cup of tea. And that's been great. And I just want to introduce you to the executives, so quick shout out. I just want to show you this. We're from around the country. You can see the different dioceses that people are in here. And if I could, I'm Matthew Dell, so I didn't say that, but you kind of guessed it. I'm the chair. Julia Cunningham, come to the front so people can see you. We'll do a line-up. Julia, Vice Chair. Nancy, Vice Chair. Sean, you here? No? Okay. Helen, Dave, Treasurer, Helen, our Secretary. Andy, Communications. Roisin, you here? And Peter, Simon Peter. I think. Peter's here, brilliant. So we're the team with Sean, and we're working on your behalf. Our executive will probably grow. We've got people on our waiting list, and we're really grateful for your support. It's really important to stress that team thing. My little visual aid there, the silos. Yeah? Silo mentality. It just means that you work. And ultimately it's that kind of bit in us about selfishness, isn't it? We all kind of have that desire to just be a bit selfish. And sometimes we work like that, sometimes our families. Sometimes we work like that in our schools. We don't really want to share things. I've worked with colleagues who, oh, that's nice. Yes, it is. It's great to share. It's professionalism. And sometimes in our schools, we act like silos, as if we're in competition. We've got to, against other Catholic schools. Where the hell's that come from? Yeah, I know it's our cultural climate to be competitive, but actually it goes against what we stand for. And actually sometimes we work as silos in dioceses. And our association is to challenge that. Our association, you've got a little leaflet, I hope you find it in all your bits and bobs in there, and please look after your meal tickets, they're £7. There's a little leaflet, I can't find it. Little leaflet. Have a look at that. Please read it, because in there is our mission, our aims. And you look at the key words there. Support, represent, dialogue, voice, sharing. That's what we're about. As an association, implicit in the word association is that you're going to work together. Implicit in association is at the heart of our Christian understanding of love your neighbour. We share. We want to help each other. So as our teachers, professionals, in the church, our association is here to support each other. We can do it better together, can't we? You go to really top flight management things and they say, work smarter. And usually work smarter means to collaborate, to help each other. It's really simple. And we've got that in our Gospels. Francis, I haven't got the quote, but it's on our website, recently spoke at an association of teachers in Italy who talks about the importance of collaboration. He's really good, and he said, it's tough working in associations. Honestly, from his experience of working with people, you have disagreements. People call you out and say, why are you saying that? It's tough working together. But fundamentally, we are called as lay Catholics. We are empowered as lay Catholics in canon law to form associations. So, all the C's there, collaboration, collegiality, cooperation, community, Catholic, I think it's implicit. When we understand our faith as Catholics, we understand the need to be community-minded. We understand the need to work together. And that's at the heart of this association. And I really do believe that. We've got to be collegial. And we've got to witness to other teachers in the school about how you work as a department, how you work nationally as well. And sometimes in our diocese, just because there are structures, and it's the way humans work, sometimes we work in silos. And when we work in silos, we cannot build up the kingdom of God. We have to work collegially, because it's our calling. So, enough on that. I hope that's my little sermon for the day. You've had faith in me. Could someone get me 2 chocolate boxes? They're in the little room. Here's a shout out. The person who had not most faith, well maybe, Adrian Ross, are you here? Put your hand up, please. You were the very first person to book onto our conference. Really? You're my hero. I got some hero chocolates because when that first booking came through, I was so pleased. 9:33, the 20th of June in the year of our Lord 2019. But this conference, there's been a lot of interest, and you see we've had to get extra chairs, and we've managed to, there are some extra chairs around. But the last person, because somebody said somewhere, the last shall be first, remember that? And this person booked in at 2:34 p.m. on Friday the 7th of February. Rachel Davis, where are you? And Rachel knows there's a lovely story of how she's ended up here, but we won't go into that now.
But we will ask you about it later.
Yeah. We've got a queue of people who couldn't get in, unfortunately, so we did really well. So thank you to all our supporters. We've got 19 organisations here. We're really glad that you're here. We're thanking our seminar speakers and our keynotes for having faith in us. We're joined here by a number of guests, in particular Bishop Allen. Thank you very much. He's our Episcopal liaison, and he's very important for us. He's speaking later, and he is our link to the Catholic Church, a key link, because we are a Catholic organisation. Really pleased to welcome Sister Cathy Jones from the Assumption Sisters, who, without the Assumption Sisters, they gave us a grant, and without that, we wouldn't be here. So thank you very much again for showing faith in us and giving us a grant. Thank you to Paul Barber, who's here, Director of the CES, somewhere over there. Thank you very much. Again, supporting ATCRE from the very beginning. Peter Ward, where are you? He's coming, I think. Actually, he, again, through Nibria, is supporting us. And Mo Glacken, are you here? No? Okay. Independent Schools Conference General Secretary, again, supporting us. Because we want this to be an association for all schools, every school. Two really quick projects ATCRE is working on at the moment. One is with Philip at the CES, and maybe I'll mention this later, in terms of the revision of the curriculum directory. And finally, the recruitment and retention of RE teachers. Professor Anthony Tower at the back here, who's the director of the Aquinas Centre. In conjunction with the ATCRE, we are doing a symposium on the recruitment and retention of RE teachers in the summer. It's subtitled "The Harvest is Rich, but the Labourers are Few." So, I'm sorry I've slightly overrun here. Thank you very much for being here. I am delighted that we can hand over to Helen, who's going to do really quick. Sorry, we're doing the prayer. It's quite important, isn't it? So Nancy's going to lead us in prayer.
Always prayer before housekeeping. Right, good morning everybody. I'd just like to extend my welcome to you all. It's great to see so many people here giving up their time, and especially at the weekend, because we all know how precious time is these days. We're going to open this morning's conference with a period of prayer and reflection. As many of you will know, today marks the feast day of two saints, Saint Jerome Emiliani and Saint Josephine of Quito. I'm going to focus for a few moments on Saint Jerome. Jerome was a soldier from Venice who, whilst captured during battle, was imprisoned. He reflected on his less than virtuous life and decided to change. From that moment, he dedicated his life to the Virgin Mary. After a miraculous escape from prison, Jerome returned to Venice, where he took care of the sick and the poor in the hospitals. He also studied for the priesthood and was ordained in 1518. When the plague broke out in 1528, Jerome cared for the sick and fed the hungry at his own expense. Many children were left orphaned, homeless and abandoned. Jerome decided to devote his life to their care. He set up a programme for children similar to the vocational training classes of today. He taught them the Catholic faith. About 1532, Jerome and two other priests founded a congregation for the care of orphans and for the education of priests and children. It began as the Society of the Servants for the Poor, but became the Clerks Regular of Samasha. We can learn much from the example of St. Jerome. As educators in Catholic education, we are called to nurture the children and young people in our care, that they may enjoy a very full life. This vocation brings many challenges, but it is also a great privilege. We invite these children of God into an encounter with Him and to accompany Him, if only for a little while, on that journey towards the Almighty. Pope Francis tells us that teaching is a beautiful job. It allows us to see the growth day by day of people entrusted to our care. It is a little like being parents, at least spiritually. It is a great responsibility. Today's Gospel is a reminder of Jesus, the first teacher. As Mark tells us, the apostles returned and met with Jesus and told him all they had done and taught. There were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his disciples didn't even have time to eat. So he said to them, "Let us go off by ourselves to some place where you will be alone and you can rest a while." So they started out in a boat by themselves to a lonely place. Many people, however, saw them leave and knew at once who they were. So they went from all the towns and ran ahead by land and arrived at the place ahead of Jesus and his disciples. When Jesus got out of the boat, he saw this large crowd, and his heart was filled with pity for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things. So today, let us be renewed in our vocation, and as we gather to share, to listen, and most importantly to learn, may the sessions be food for our journey to enable us to support others on their journey. And now I invite you to say with me the prayer that Jesus taught us.